Imagine this: two guys who grew up on the exact same block, went to the same high school, and started their first real jobs in their mid-20s. By age 30, Nathan was earning $52,000 a year managing a distribution warehouse, while Brandon pulled in $48,000 doing logistics. Coordination across town. Same neighborhood, same barber, same everything. Fast forward to age 62. Nathan had $430,000 sitting in his retirement accounts. Brandon had only $61,000 after 37 years of work. Same starting line, completely different finish. My name is Ted, and the scariest part: the difference had nothing to do with luck or bigger paychecks. It was something quiet, invisible, and deadly common. Stick with me, you're about to see exactly what it is. Hey friend, if that story about Nathan and Brandon just gave you a little knot in your stomach, you're not alone. I want you to know right up front that this isn't some rare disaster that only happens to other people. It's happening to millions of regular working Americans every single day. The median retirement savings for all households in this country sits at $87,000. That means half of us have less than that. Run the numbers and it turns into just $3,480 a year, or $290 a month once you retire. Even for folks in their late 50s and early 60s who are almost done working, the median balance is only $185,000. That's $7,400 a year, or $616 a month. Those numbers aren't there to shame anyone. They're there to wake us up. Because the real problem isn't low income. It's something far sneakier that quietly swallows every raise, every bonus, and every extra dollar before it ever gets the chance to compound. If you're watching this and you've ever felt that quiet unease when you check your own retirement account, I get it. I've sat with friends who felt the exact same way. So if this is hitting home already, do me a quick favor and tap the like button. It lets me know we're in this conversation together. Now let's talk about what's really going on behind the scenes. Let me walk you through the exact mechanism that turned Nathan's steady path into $430,000 and Brandon's into only $61,000 after 37 years of working in the same city. The real culprit is lifestyle inflation. That quiet habit where every single raise gets swallowed by upgraded spending before it ever has a chance to grow. When Brandon received a raise, he upgraded his car lease without thinking twice. When he got another raise at 38, he moved into a larger apartment in a nicer part of town. None of it felt irresponsible. It felt earned and completely normal, just like what everyone around him was doing. Every extra dollar disappeared into monthly expenses before it had a chance to compound. Nathan kept his spending floor exactly the same. He simply redirected the difference quietly into his retirement accounts. This leads straight into the compounding blind spot that quietly sabotages more retirement savings than any market crash ever could. For the first decade, it feels like nothing is happening. You put money in month after month, and the balance grows so slowly that many people get discouraged and stop or pull funds out when life gets expensive. But every early dollar is building the base. A portfolio of $50,000 growing at 10% annually adds $5,000 in a typical year. A portfolio of $300,000 adds $30,000. A portfolio of $500,000 adds $50,000 without any new contribution. The math never changes. Only the base changes. And in the early years, you're building that base. $1,000 invested at 25 becomes approximately $17,000 by 65 at 10% average growth. The same $1,000 invested at 45 becomes only $7,000. Same money, same rate. 11 fewer years, and the difference is $10,000 per contribution. To see the real impact, picture this. If Brandon had invested just $200 a month starting at 25 and increased that contribution by $50 every time he got a raise, never dramatically, just consistently, at a 10% average annual return. By 62, he would have had over $640,000. That is the cost of a modest gym membership and one dinner out. That is the margin. The median retirement savings for all American households across every age is $87,000. That produces $3,480 per year at 4%, or $290 a month. Even among households nearing retirement in their late 50s and early 60s, the median balance sits around $185,000. That generates $7,400 per year, or $616 a month. These numbers are not there to shame you. They are the warning that the gap does not close by accident. Let's make the math of reaching $500,000 concrete. If you're 25 years old and you invest $400 per month into a diversified index fund averaging 10% annual returns, you will cross $500,000 somewhere around age 53. By 65, that same contribution rate would have grown to approximately $1.4 million. If you start at 35, that same $400 per month gets you to $500,000 somewhere around age 60. But the final balance by 65 drops to roughly $860,000. If you start at 45, $400 per month gets you to roughly $270,000 by 65. You would need to invest closer to $750 per month starting at 45 to reach the milestones by 65. The delay is always the expensive part. See how all these data points lock together into one clear mechanism. Small recurring decisions that did not feel significant in the moment added up to a lifetime gap between security and struggle. Now let's talk about the hidden psychology that made Brandon's choices feel so right in the moment while Nathan's felt almost invisible. For Brandon, every upgrade felt earned. The new car lease whispered, "You've worked hard, you deserve this." The bigger apartment in the nicer neighborhood said, "You've finally made it." These weren't reckless splurges. They were quiet, socially approved steps that everyone around him was also taking. It felt completely normal, like breathing. That's the danger. The brain tricks us into believing that lifestyle inflation is just keeping up, not a slow leak. Meanwhile, Nathan wasn't punishing himself. He simply refused to let his spending floor rise with every paycheck. He felt the same social pressure, but he chose to redirect the difference instead of letting it dissolve into monthly noise. Here's the deeper system at work. Our entire economy is built to encourage this exact behavior. Credit card companies, car dealerships, real estate agents, and even social media all profit when you spend every extra dollar immediately. They don't want your money sitting in a retirement account compounding quietly for decades. They want it moving through the system right now. It's like a giant invisible current pulling every raise downstream before it can build into a lake of security. And the current is so gentle, you don't even feel the tug until the water is far behind you. I saw this play out with an old buddy of mine named Marcus just 8 years ago. He was 55, earning a solid salary, and his company offered automatic contribution increases. He laughed it off and said, "I'll start next year when things settle." 2 years later, the company downsized, and he was let go early. His retirement balance sat at only $142,000. The same quiet psychology had convinced him he had time. The system had convinced him his current lifestyle was the reward. That's why the gap between Nathan and Brandon wasn't about willpower or intelligence. It was about two different relationships with the invisible forces that reward immediate spending and punish patient saving. One man let the current carry him. The other quietly built a dam, one small decision at a time. So here's the good news, my friend. You don't have to turn your life upside down or live like a monk to change your ending from Brandon's to Nathan's. The fix is simpler than you think, and it starts with 5 practical moves you can make this month. First, find out your actual retirement savings balance today. Open that 401k portal or IRA account and look at the real number. Most people haven't checked in months. You can't close a gap you refuse to measure. Second, calculate what 4% of your current balance produces per year. Multiply your total retirement savings by 0.04. That is your current annual retirement income from savings alone. If that number feels uncomfortable, good. Let the discomfort push you forward. Third, increase your contribution rate by at least 1% starting this month. 1% of your gross income is usually between $30 and $70 per paycheck. It feels like nothing, but over 20 years at 10% average returns, it compounds into something that will surprise you. Fourth, set up automatic escalation on your retirement contributions. Most 401k plans allow you to set automatic annual increases of 1 or 2%. Turn this on and forget about it. Your future self will have no memory of the adjustment, but your balance will remember. Fifth, audit one recurring expense this week that absorbs money without returning meaningful life satisfaction. Maybe a streaming service you barely use or a subscription you forgot about. Redirect that amount even partially into your retirement account. The goal isn't deprivation. The goal is intentional allocation. Nathan didn't drive a worse car or skip vacations. He simply planned them around his financial rhythm instead of against it. He kept more of what he earned consistently and quietly across decades while the compounding curve bent in his favor. You can do the same. These aren't dramatic sacrifices. They're small, repeatable decisions that add up to $500,000 or more by the time you reach 62. The path exists. The only question left is whether you choose to take it starting today. And so, my friend, here we are. Nathan walked into age 62 with $430,000 quietly waiting for him. Brandon arrived with only $61,000 after the same 37 years. Same block, same high school, same starting line. The difference: one man let every raise disappear into lifestyle inflation, while the other kept more of what he earned and let compounding do the heavy lifting. $500,000 isn't reserved for the lucky or the rich. It's built by anyone willing to make small, consistent decisions that don't feel dramatic in the moment. You now know the truth: most people never learn. What you do with it is entirely up to you. If this conversation gave you something real to work with, hit that like button, subscribe so we can keep these honest talks coming, and drop one thing you're going to change this month in the comments. I read every single one. There's another video waiting for you next week on exactly how to set up that automatic escalation without feeling the pinch. Until then, I'm Ted. Thanks for sitting with me. Let's go build that future together.